Hello, everyone, and welcome to my home. It's nice to have you over. If you've been sitting for the most of the day, I really invite you to get up and stretch while I do my short introduction. I'm Ophir Wainer. I'm the VP of Product and Growth at Compass Digital Labs. We are the product arm of Compass Group, which is the largest food services provider in the world. What we do is build products in house to compete with outside tech, which is a really weird and unique position to be. On the one hand, internal, but on the other hand, very much in competition. And today, I want to talk to you and share with you some of my thoughts about building a winning product team. And I'm going to share it through my philosophy as well as examples and how I've built my team when I joined Compass Digital Labs about 18 months ago. Before we jump into my story, I'm sure that all of you, when you think about winning, you have some type of an image in mind, whether it's visual or some words that pop up. So you can stop stretching, sit down, and maybe write a few words about what is a winning product team. Pen and paper, type it out, whatever feels most convenient to you. There's no wrong answers. Take your time, write a few words. All right. Here are some of mine. I know I'm pre-recorded right now, but I'm live in chat, and we're going to do Q&A after. So feel free to drop some thoughts in the chat and share with me, with the rest of the group here in the room. I would consider a winning product team to have a few of those examples. The top, you can see, really talks about bringing the value to the users, having business impact, strategic about the investment they're making, happy. I think it is really important that we're happy at our jobs, the way we work together. So collaborative, resilience, trusted. I think these are also all pillars of a winning product team. And I know you've all had some incredible thoughts on your end. When I joined CDL about 18 months ago, the mandate was for me to come in and build/rebuild the team. The team in place was one that had no leader, no product leader for about 10 months. And if majority of you in the room lead product teams, you know what that might mean for a team. It was low on headcount versus what was there on budget. And there was a gap between the strategy and the features that the team was building day to day. We're a B2B model. There is that temptation to be chasing customer feature requests instead of the core strategy of the company. And then that in turn created a low trust from other functions in the company. So there was a lot of amending, building, and rebuilding, like I said, to do with the team. And when I looked at my definition of a winning product team and what I wanted to do, I decided to focus my energy on two main factors of what impacts a team to be a winning team. The first one being clear direction, and the second is strong talent. I would acknowledge it looks very simplistic, only two things. How can that, be the only thing that makes a team win? So let me explain in my philosophy how I think these two things position you in the best way to take a team into a winning place. The first thing that these two factors will allow you to do is to magnify your impact as a leader. When you get to your leadership position, it's usually because you've done really great things before. You're talented. I can trust you with building incredible products. Nonetheless, when you're leading a full team, you're expected to show the impact of a full team. That way, you need to be able to leverage your knowledge and your capabilities without controlling each and every decision and outcome that your PMs are making or driving. To allow that freedom and independence, you cannot micromanage, and you need to have that idea of people who are owners. They can run their own ideas, they can bring in new ideas to the table and make a lot of impact. That way, when you're thinking about, okay, what are the things that I really need in place in order to create really valuable things, business impact, and a happy team without doing it myself, it means that you're becoming a coach. You're removing blockers, you are course correcting where needed, but your main focus is identifying a target, a direction, a place to go, a North Star, if you will, and then putting around the table the best people to be able to do that. So these are the two things that I would like to share my experience with building. So the first one, a clear direction. You need to know very clearly and vividly in your mind, what does that trophy look like for your product? And then you need to show your team where you're going to go together. That's something that's very specific for each and every product. It might be a business goal, it might be a market share, it might be a specific value, the industry you're trying to disrupt, the story that you're telling yourself about what your product is going to do. But that vision needs to be something that when anyone and everyone on your team are being asked, they can answer in a heartbeat. They know, they feel, and they have it ingrained in them what it means to have that trophy. If you're thinking about that kind of like underlying metaphor that I'm using here with sports, is a team of sports player, in this case, it's soccer, they know what's that top of the mountain that they're climbing towards. It's very clear. They can see that. It's easy with sports because it's broadcasted and you've seen other teams do it, and it's very clear. So in our case, it's even harder to say, this is the product vision. It's very clear. It's very well defined. Having that vision, high level, North Star, big idea, big picture where we're going, also allows, in addition to the direction, it also allows people to have some freedom, because vision by nature is a little bit more abstract than the small steps. So if you're thinking again about a team, I'm not saying, what should be the score exactly. I'm not saying who should score, but I'm saying if everyone do their job, moving in that direction, we're going to have that win or championship. So it would be something else for every company and every product, but you definitely want to define your vision, whether it's a vision statement, a North Star metric, your OKR system, your KPI. You need to have something in place that makes it very easy for everyone to know where they're going. With us, it was one of the big products that we're building that was very abstract and hard to understand. So I came into the organization, and basically every person that I talked to had a different view of the product. I hear a different description, a different angle, a different path to attack the market that we're trying to go after. And it was clear that a team that doesn't have a common vision of where they're going, there's no way they're going to get there. So I created, for us, it was a product vision statement, and then a set of OKRs together with a company level North Star. And I'm happy to dive into any of those in the Q&A. We created it, and it's something that until today, when you ask people what are the product, very easy. It's about 10 words. It's easy to remember. 5 of the words in it are specific anchors, and it's something that every PM or even engineer or designer or even our sales team can go back to and say, okay, I understand where we're going and what winning looks like. Talked about it at the beginning. Obviously, you can't win on your own. You're in there in front of the mountain, you know what winning looks like, and then you need the right skill. And those things are very, very much linked into each other. It's almost a work of translation to ask yourself as a leader to say, if I want to get from point A to point B, what type of skill and ability do I need to have in my toolbox as a team in order to get there? It would be different people for different periods in the product life cycle, for different industries. When you bring a team together, it's like a mosaic. You don't need everyone to be the same, but you are looking for the right people and the right mix. I think with talent, I don't know if I can even stress that enough. Hiring is probably the most high stake decision you will make. I know it's kind of like big, but I would really, put my money where my mouth is on this. As a leader, your power is your people. And if they're strong, you can do anything. If your strategy is wrong, you pivot, you know that you're in this together, you have really talented people that can walk with you there. And I think that's probably the one thing that is worth the most of the investment, understanding what people would take your product furthest and getting them in. So when I joined the team after my period of 90 days of assessment of the current team and the landscape of the company, hiring was probably not even probably, for sure, the one thing I've invested most of my energy and time into. Funnily enough, my first hire is a PM that I met at Women in Product at the virtual conference a little over a year ago. We kept in touch, we chatted, and she ended up joining the team. A little bit about my approach into hiring, and I know there are a lot of different ways to make a hire and to manage the process. But since we're on the topic, would love to share my point of view. So there are three things that are really important when you're looking for the right talent. The first one, we talked about it, is knowing what you're looking for. Take the time, write it on paper, think about the organization. What are the hard skills and knowledge that a PM should have in your space? What are the type of culture exists already in the company and what you're trying to bring in? And then think about, how are you going to assess that? What are the things that you always ask in an interview? For instance, for me, one of the things that I always ask is, if you could have anything you want in your next job, what would be your top three things? Teaches you a lot about what drives the person, what they're looking for. It's a two-sided way. If we're not what he or she are looking for, it's really easy to direct the conversation from there. So thinking about what you want to achieve. The second thing for me is an assignment. It's a little bit of a controversial topic, but I find that it's really, really hard to know the level of skill without doing a home assignment. Agreed, from ethical perspective, it should never be about the product that you're actually building. It should be something completely detached from it. So you're not, sourcing ideas or anything like that. Just mimicking and doing a demo or a simulation of how it's like to be working together. Last but not least, don't hire alone. As I said, it's the highest stake decision you will make as a leader. You don't need to make it alone. My approach is to bring in a panel of people when we review the assignment in person or virtually with the candidate. And we only hire by consensus. So if you join the team, you know that every person that had met you gave a full-on yes. It's a really good way to avoid false negative. You do leave, there will be, a false positive. So false negative is not, it will be, and it's part of the price. But the worst thing that can happen is you bring in someone that's not a great fit to where you want to be. And then dealing with that is a little less pleasant. to look at the big picture again, of oversimplification. So a winning product team has a lot of different facets to it. And I do believe very strongly that you can get all of them by focusing on the two main focus areas that are giving very clear direction. That's high level. It gives boundaries, but very specifically outlines where people ought to go. And then bringing in the people to go there, having the right people and the right systems in place in order to have your team be very strong. I do want to acknowledge that there are definitely more into it. There are definitely more things that you need to give attention to as a leader in order for your team to be successful. Your strategy, clearly, the product practices, how you set up your organizational structure is really important. Your relationship with, obviously, with dev and design, but then with sales and marketing and support is really important. Down at the bottom, I have your energy, making sure that your tank is full, you're able to give back to the team, and you're standing there very strong for them, and many more. So, for me, I wanted to acknowledge it, say, all of it are fair game for Q&A and for our discussion. And yet, I think the two big ones worth investing in are direction and talent. The last thing I want to leave you with, whether it's a reinvestment that you're making in your team right now, or you're planning your steps with starting a new role, I would really recommend being very transparent about the process that you're managing and you're leading with your building process. I found that transparency really brings a lot of buy-in, a lot of help. At the end of the day, when people know what you want to do and what you're building, they want to help you. So when I joined the team, one of the first things that I presented after my first 90 days of evaluation was a plan. I called it the product team elevation plan. And I called out the things that I'm going to do. I said, these product areas are a main focus. This is the mission and the vision. This is how I see and really describe it in words. What is a winning team? So everyone has that image in mind and they're willing to get invested in it, as well as I had my plan on how I'm going to hire talent, what areas I'm going to focus in on first. And I shared that with the existing product team as well as my peers, the leaders of the other departments. And I think that feeling of building in transparency really reassured me and got me a lot of incredible feedback from other people. So if you do it, be transparent. I would also love to hear about the path if you're open to sharing it with me. And I wish you all the best when you go out there and build your winning product team. I'm looking forward to hearing from you in the Q&A as well as after. Don't be a stranger. I'm very friendly and pretty responsive on LinkedIn. Thank you everyone for listening, and I hope this was helpful.